Close your eyes. The street hadn't woken up yet, but you had. Not suddenly, not because something happened. You were just awake before the world decided it was time. The house was already behind you now. Warmth stayed inside. Whatever held you there had let go. Outside, the air felt different. Not colder exactly, just less forgiving. Streetlights were still on, doing a job that no one needed anymore. The road was empty, not because it was early, but because the day hadn't claimed it yet. You stood there for a moment, not going forward, not going back, realizing something quietly. This part of the morning didn't belong to the day, and it didn't belong to home. It belonged to no one. And then you stepped into it. The door closed behind you without a sound. Not slammed, just finished. Whatever stayed inside didn't follow. The cold reached you immediately. Not as a shock, more like a correction. You pulled your coat tighter, even though it wouldn't help much. Breath showed in front of you, then vanished again, as if the air wasn't ready to keep it. For a second, you stood still, not waiting, measuring. The ground felt harder than it should have, shoes louder than they were a moment ago. Every step carried further now. This wasn't the cold from being outside too long. This was the cold that arrived before you did. And as you took your first step forward, something shifted quietly. The morning wasn't watching you anymore. You were already in it. The street didn't belong to anyone yet. Not to the houses, not to the cars, not to the people who would claim it later. Streetlights stayed on longer than they were meant to, casting yellow pools that didn't quite touch each other. Between them, the road remained unfinished. Nothing had been placed yet. No footsteps to follow, no direction to agree with. The houses stood back from the pavement, curtains still drawn, windows dark, as if they were holding on to the last of the night. You walked through the middle of it, not early but ahead of doors opening, ahead of engines starting, ahead of voices deciding where the day would go. For a moment, the street felt like it was waiting to be named, waiting to be used, waiting to belong, and you were already crossing it before anyone noticed it was there at all. You heard it before you saw anything, a door closing somewhere behind you, not near, not far enough to ignore. Then footsteps, uncertain at first, as if the street itself hadn't decided whether to allow them yet. Ahead of you, a shape appeared. Not a face, just a darker outline moving in the same direction. You didn't speed up, you didn't slow down. There was no need to acknowledge each other, no greeting, no glance. The quiet was still holding, but it had started to thin. Another door opened, a window lit up, a radio came on somewhere, low and unfinished. The street wasn't awake yet, but it was no longer alone. And without saying anything, you had already joined it. You didn't decide where to go. Your feet already knew. The route wasn't something you thought about. It lived somewhere lower, below words, below choice. Hands stayed in your pockets, shoulders angled slightly forward. Not from hurry, from habit. You weren't late, you weren't early. You were exactly where you were meant to be at that point in the morning. The street still hadn't fully woken up, but the direction had been set. Every step carried you further from the house without asking if you agreed. You didn't imagine school yet. Not the building, not the bell, only the movement toward it. You weren't choosing to go. You were already going. Something shifted without announcing itself. Not a sound you could point to, not a moment you could name. Just a change in how the street held you. An engine started somewhere nearby, not rushed, left running longer than necessary. A radio came on behind a window, its voice low, still deciding what it was meant to be. The light changed almost without moving. Street lamps dimmed slightly, as if remembering they would be needed again later. The road wasn't empty anymore. It still looked that way, but it no longer felt it. Time had begun to count. Steps around you grew closer together. Breath no longer disappeared unnoticed. Movement started to align. The street hadn't fully woken up, but it had been claimed. And you were already moving with it. There were more of you now. Not suddenly, not all at once. They appeared the same way the morning did, gradually, without asking. Someone joined from a side street, another from a gate left open just long enough. A figure fell in beside you, then drifted ahead again. No one spoke. It wasn't silence from shyness. It was silence from understanding. Everyone knew where they were going. Everyone knew there was no need to say it out loud. You walked close enough to hear breathing, to catch the sound of shoes on the same pavement, to feel the pace adjust itself. Not together, not apart. There was no leader, no one to follow. The group moved because it always had, and without ever agreeing to it, you were part of it now. You couldn't see the school yet. No building, no gates, no sign to point toward. But something had changed in how you moved. Steps grew quicker without anyone deciding to hurry. Voices didn't appear, but breath shortened slightly. The air felt tighter here, as if it had been measured. The street no longer stretched ahead. It narrowed, not in distance, but in time. You didn't think about lessons. You didn't think about teachers. You thought about where you were meant to be and how long it would take to get there. The morning felt closer now, heavier, not because something bad was waiting, but because something had already begun. You were still walking, but the space around you was no longer empty enough to belong to you. This was the last part of the morning that still belonged to you. No one stopped. No one turned back. Steps tightened. The space between people closed without touching. The street was almost gone now. Not behind you, but beneath you. Whatever quiet remained didn't stretch anymore. It held. You could feel the moment thinning, like breath held just a second too long. Ahead, the day waited. Not loudly, not impatiently, just ready. And without anyone saying it, you knew. Once this part ended, there would be no more room to stand still. Mornings don't feel like that now. They arrive already full. Screens light up before the room does. Voices come from everywhere at once. There's no pause, no stretch of time that hasn't decided what it wants from you. The street wakes up faster. The day moves sooner. But sometimes, very early, when the house is still and the light outside hasn't settled yet, your body remembers. Not the route, not the school, the space. That brief part of the morning that asked nothing from you. If you remember walking before the street was ready, that quiet belonged to you too.